Hello, my name is Daniel Martin. My colleagues are Ariana, Desnows, Ridhi, Jain, and Kenneth, Quek, and we are the Dark Management Consultancy. In this video, we will examine the impact of the endowment effect in the business world. First, we will define and discuss the issues in which our management consultancy specializes. Then we will explain the importance of these issues and how they apply to the business world. Next, we will provide solutions to address these problems. And finally, we will discuss the benefits of our solutions. The endowment effect is the idea that one will value an item one owns more highly than an identical item they do not own. This vast difference in perspective can cause many issues in the business world, and we'll discuss these later in the presentation. Loss aversion is the idea that losses loom larger than gains. People become risk-seeking when options are framed as losses, and risk-averse when options are framed as gains. Sunk costs are costs that cannot be recovered and therefore should not be taken into account in the decision-making process. Our management consultancy specializes in helping to eliminate the endowment effect. The endowment effect can be detrimental to businesses because when the people who are making decisions also have a strong investment in the project, this can produce a conflict of interest. They may choose to continue a failing project at the expense of the company because they are adamant about not seeing their idea fail. They don't want to let go of a project because the loss is considered too great for them. They are incorrectly taking sunk costs into consideration while making the decision to continue a failing project. This idea exemplifies the value function shown on the screen, where losses loom larger than gains. There is mounting evidence for an endowment effect. A study was conducted in Cornell University by Kahneman, Netz, and Thaler in 1990, where students were randomly given either a chocolate bar or a mug of equal value and allowed to trade. While the researchers expected 50% of students to trade, only 10% of the students actually traded their goods. This demonstrates that the endowment effect is alive and negatively affects trading volume. Researchers have found a way to mitigate this effect. Another study conducted by List in 2011 proves that the endowment effect is mitigated by experience. In that study, sports card traders of varying experience were given a range of sports memorabilia for them to trade amongst themselves. What List discovered is that more experienced traders were able to shake off the endowment effect by trading more, while amateur traders were less likely to trade. However, the lessons learned in these studies have limited application to business. Managers are not usually placed in situations where they can gain experience in frequent transactions. Given that they are usually making unique decisions that have limited repetition, they are unable to gain experience and will still be susceptible to the endowment effect. Businesses face the consequences of an endowment effect most strongly at the start of an economic downturn. During the initial downturn of the business cycle, managers and investors refuse to sell their investments as they watch their investments perform poorly as their prices begin to correct in a bear market. Instead of selling off early at a small loss, they usually wait till they overcome their endowment effect during their stage of regret and finally sell their investments off at a much larger loss than before. The other facets of the endowment effect are loss aversion and seeking to maintain the status quo. Loss aversion can easily convince a manager to continue to invest in losing a project because management is reluctant to take on paper losses. It is important for businesses to realize what sunk cost is, remove their bias, and stop investing once they are able to recognize their pattern. Endowment effect also manifests in managers' increased investment of time and attention in his or her own hires. He or she will be much more invested in the success of an employee because he or she owns the results. It is a problem because managers can spend too much time on employees with lower potential when the right action might be to actually let them go. Our solution to address the endowment effect is to implement a revised RACI matrix. Here you can see the basic RACI matrix with individuals assigned to the responsible, accountable, consultant, and informed roles. For more information on these roles, please refer to the associated white paper. In this specific matrix, we have a project split into stages. In each stage, the team undergoes a new task. In stage 1, for example, the project executive is the consulted party. The project manager is the accountable and responsible. The analyst is consulted, and the technical developer is informed. The roles shift in future stages. Right now, the matrix is set up in chronological stages, but the application is the same for multiple tasks performed at the same time. The RACI matrix is great for assigning responsibilities, but lacks any capabilities to properly address the endowment effect. We address this problem in two ways, the first of which is by adding an evaluator role. Our new RACIE matrix adds an evaluator role into the project. You can see this role on the far right. The key differentiator for our new matrix is that it introduces someone who is not a stakeholder in the project. Therefore, the evaluator can objectively assess the project. This will greatly reduce the impact of the endowment effect on the project. Our other improvement on the RACI matrix is to add goal-setting sessions before each task or stage is started. In these sessions, the team will come together and collectively set goals for their tasks. Goals will allow the evaluator to easily assess and objectively measure the success of the project so far. If a goal is not met, the evaluator should research and find out why. The team's ability to achieve their goals should not be the sole driver in the evaluator's decisions. It should just be a starting point for the evaluator's assessment of the project and team's performance as a whole. Here is our final RACIE matrix. By implementing our new matrix featuring the added evaluator role and goal setting, your firm can greatly reduce the negative repercussions from the endowment effect. So why is our solution valuable? As you can see from this chart, the basic RACI chart is a great tool to get your teams organized. You have increased accountability, clearly assigned roles, and increased dialogue and communication across your team as they divide up tasks. As you can see, our RACIE matrix on the bottom builds upon the strengths of its predecessor. In addition to the prior attributes, our RACIE matrix introduces goal setting, more diverse perspectives as more people are introduced, increased transparency as the project is continuously evaluated, and finally, an objective assessment of the progress and future prospects of the project. In conclusion, the problem that our firm specializes in solving is the endowment effect. If you hire us, we can help your company avoid the negative impacts of the endowment effect and increase project profitability. For further information, consult our white paper, Mitigating the Forces of the Endowment Effect. Thank you very much for your time.